What is up, everybody? Welcome to our Thursday section of the Rally Tal Sports Podcast. Line to Gain tonight. Special guest with us, as always, we have Corey, we have Todd, and joining us is Tommy with the Mafia Sports Report, giving us all of the latest insights on the Buffalo Bills and their very, very good young football team that they have. Tommy, welcome. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your stream and what you've got going on?
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate you guys having me on. It really is a blessing when other content guys reach out. It's a good community as far as just everybody, helping each other out with this. But As far as my channel, Mafia Sports Report, man, I've been doing it for about a year and a half now. So I'm kind of new at it. Live, I've been doing it for about 6-7 months. And man, it wasn't easy to start at first, guys, but once you get the hang of it, it's just like making peanut butter jelly sandwich, man. It's real simple. It's fun. I love reaching out to other Bills Mafia and just shooting the shit, really. I've been a fan since '89. So it's not like something I just, I'm a bandwagon fan. I just came on because Josh Allen's so cool. Like, there's a lot of these. I gotta say, I've been finding out a lot of fake fans out there.
Are you originally from Buffalo?
I am not. So the funny story about me is I am originally from Florida, South Florida.
Okay.
And I played sports my whole life, but I never watched it when I was a kid. And then one day, 1989, I'm playoffs, and I'm like, oh, it's the Buffalo Bills are playing. And Jim Kelly and all of them. And I'm like, that's a cool looking team. I don't know why. They just, something about them that,
yeah.
And I've been hooked. I haven't stopped watching since. And my family hated me because they're all Dolphin fans. And I didn't give a shit. And then I moved to Detroit. And I've been here for the last 7 years in Detroit, Michigan.
Wait.
No way.
Yeah. I had no idea you're in Detroit. I'm in Detroit.
Are you really, man?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm in Detroit.
That's why I was blown away. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I had no idea, bro. I'm in Detroit-ish. I'm not in Detroit. I'm in Detroit-ish.
Well, me too. I stay in Lincoln Park, Michigan.
Okay. So you're more Detroit than I am. I'm White Lake.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been here quite a bit. And by the way, guys, so just so you guys know, like it's real.
He's in. He's full. He's all in. Right? You have no choice at this point, Tommy.
Yeah. So I'm all in. But hey, guys, it's been a crazy time as a Bills fan, as many Bills Mafia know. A lot of heartbreak and then a lot of garbage and shit and promises and different coaches and just a bunch of crap. You guys know how this is how sports goes, right? Like, I'm a Piston fan, by the way, and it's been bad. It's been bad.
You've been through it, man.
You missed the glory days. So the Buffalo Bills have finally gotten it right, guys. And that's why you see a lot of Bills Mafia content guys out there more now, because it's getting exciting now. Sure. Now it's fun to talk about.
Sure.
And that's what I'm here for, man. Just to give my point of view and entertain people. And that's perfect, my channel, bro.
Love it.
We've got a lot to talk about. We've got an exciting matchup. I know Corey had a couple questions, so I'm gonna give him the floor.
Yeah, we got one of the guys from Tommy's YouTube channel coming in, Jack Me, which is, I just feel uncomfortable saying that name.
Listen, I always call him Jack. Great guys from California.
Nope, I gotta say it all.
I always just say Jack, but yes, it's Jack me, but yeah, Jack. I just say Jack. But
Jack me. Sup, Tommy? What a weird sentence that I just put together there. But right. No, man, I think it's you made a lot of good points just in regards to Bills Mafia. I think right now Bills Mafia is probably one of the more notorious fan bases across the NFL right now. Just, a lot of go hard fans that support their team like crazy and just party their asses off. You see some.
Yeah, that tailgate. So Barstool blew up the tailgate like 3 or 4 years ago. And the shit that goes down And a Buffalo Bills tailgate is absolutely insane.
It's like a mix between like a frat house, an orgy, and I would say like a biker bar. That's like the best way that I've, at least from an outside perspective, just seeing the raunchy shit that they put on. But no, I think, Bills fans, Bengals fans, which obviously I am, Todd is as well. We got Bobby, he's a Steelers fan, but, so a good AFC representation going on here. But, I think Bengals fans and Bills fans can kind of hold hand in hand, and we've been through a lot as fans.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing that really stuck out to me, this was after the Bengals had been on their playoff run, the beginning of the Andy Dalton, AJ Green era, and it kind of started winding down towards the end. And I'm thinking of a magical year for Bills Mafia and for the Buffalo Bills, 2018. Oh, yeah. I remember this game vividly.
2017, yeah.
Something, yeah. It was
2018 playoff, right?
right, and it was right before last game of the season. Bengals have nothing to play for, but they're going against their rival, the Baltimore Ravens. Bills fans have since won their last, the Bills have won their last game. The fans are standing around in the stadium concourse watching the Bengals and the Ravens. It's a 4th and like 27 or 12 or something astronomical. And what do you know? The red rifle comes through. Andy Dalton delivers a dime to Tyler Boyd, and he breaks one off and scores a touchdown to win it with like 27 seconds left or something like that. So, and the entire Bills fans just went nuts, went crazy. We're back in the playoffs, going crazy. So, I mean, just being a Bills fan, do you remember, watching that game? Do you remember going through those emotions? What was that like?
Do I ever? I was home, and I honestly did not think. Usually 9 wins does not get you there. That's
unless you're in the NFC South. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I just didn't. I didn't think it was possible, to be honest with you. And it was Sean McDermott's first year as a coach. Usually those first years rebuilding, I didn't even think. I honestly thought our team would win 7 games at most.
Sure.
So 9 was impressive. I was like, okay, 9. Then watching the game, I'm like, okay, we handled our business. And I'm like, wait a minute. Then they're like, I already knew there was that. If Bengals win, I'm like, okay. And I'm watching. And then they go to the game. And my God, dude, like it was so real. I don't know how to really explain it. I can just tell you that I don't cry often or shed a tear. I shedded a tear. I'm not gonna lie. And I was quiet. Like it really, like I didn't even like sell it. I didn't know what to do.
Just taking it in.
Guys, it's been forever. Like you guys, I don't know. It's hard to explain if you haven't really been there, like as a fan, and you're like really dedicated to a team.
Sure.
But it's when it's been that long.
Yeah.
It's just like you're lost for words. Like you just like what just happened? What?
So Tommy, I'll put it into perspective for you. So the 3 of us were all born in 1991, right?
Okay.
We have never in our lifetime, we were in the womb the last time the Bengals won a playoff game. That's how long it's been for us.
Yep. 22 weeks in utero. Last time the Bengals won.
And then to put the caveat on that, all 3 of us are also big Reds fans. So
just pain.
They win the World Series in 90.
Yeah.
Don't see that.
Yep.
We haven't seen them win a playoff series in our lifetime.
There's been no success in Cincinnati ever.
This helps.
Yeah. A lot of drinking does help.
But no, honestly, just to kind of put a bow on that Bengals Bills thing, one of the coolest things that I saw after that game was Bills Mafia coming together and making $14 donations in the name of Andy Dalton to the Andy Dalton Foundation afterwards, which went out to help a ton of kids in the Cincinnati community, and that was just really, really cool to see. So hats off to Bills Mafia and everybody that was a part of that. And it was, for a little while there on social media, Bengals and Bills were kind of, buddying up and stuff like that. And it was just fun. It was like, we know what you've been through. We go through it too, and everything like that. So that was just really cool to see.
Yeah. That's one thing about Bills Mafia, man. We, they know us about our craziness, And,
they travel well.
They travel well as well. But we do a lot of charity. Like there's a lot of good coming from Bills Mafia that it's kind of overlooked a little bit. Like when Josh Allen's like grandmother passed, they put like 500,000 or close to $1 million, something insane. Crazy in the hospital. Like they do a lot. Like when they get going, guys, if we're happy, like we're gonna be paying people off.
Just don't piss them off, right?
Yeah, just don't piss us off. Like then you ain't getting nothing. You know.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome, man. I gotta say, and Bills Mafia does travel well.
And just another. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say. So if we're on the road, it's like a home game a lot of the times, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I just did want to. You mentioned charity, and we might have some people coming that are first time. We got a lot of activity on Twitter today. I was going wild out there connecting with people. So if you're just dropping by Line to Gain for the first time here on Rally Tail Sports, just letting you know we do curse and drink beer and talk shit and have fun and everything like that. At the end of the day, though, we have a huge charitable backbone. Last year, in the short, few months that we were really getting this thing together, we just over $800 donated to 3 different charities, and this year in 2022 we're looking to increase that to $1,500. So if and we try to mix in a little gambling with that as well, Super Bowl squares or Capital One Bowl pick'em and stuff like that. So we make it fun as well, but that is something that we try to do. So glad to be amongst like minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now to the big story that you probably touched on quite a bit on your podcast today. Bills Pats coming up this weekend. Rubber match. They split the series during the year. You got one of the best young quarterbacks in the league going up against arguably the best coach, and a really young quarterback in Mac Jones as well. So, what are your thoughts?
Simple. Let Mac, force Mac Jones to beat us, and which won't happen.
Love it.
Listen, a lot of people don't understand. Leslie Frazier, he's going to get a head coaching job, by the way. If he doesn't, it's crazy. He deserves one. He is the greatest defensive coordinator. Not greatest. Let me take that back. He's the best defensive coordinator right now in football, in my opinion.
Well, sorry to cut you off. I saw a stat today that blew my mind. The Buffalo Bills have the #1 ranked defense in like 8 categories, and they do not have one Pro Bowler on that team.
Pro Bowler.
Not one. Right. And they're the best defense in the league. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl is like Nickelodeon. It's garbage, right? Like I'd rather have a Nickelodeon. Yeah, give me a Nickelodeon trophy.
You want an MVP?
It's the same thing. Yeah, give me MVP. It's about the same thing. It means not like the players right now. They all know it's like the NBA All-Star game, right? It's all bullshit at the end of the day. Like we know what we are. We got the best safety duo in the NFL, hands down. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are unbelievable. Just our defense is they've been together a long time, guys. Leslie Frazier's been here. We're very disciplined as far as like knowing our routes. We don't let a lot of big plays happen. We pretty much controlled a lot of quarterbacks this season. So Mac Jones, he's not going to beat us. If we're going to get beat by the New England Patriots, it's because our offense falls flat. The first game around, if you guys watched that game, was 14-10. That was a very winnable game. Our defense did their job. No matter what anyone says, the 220 rushing yards, not that big of a deal, guys. They averaged 3.5 yards a carry. It was the one long run. Other than that, I'll allow 300 yards if we score. If they score 14, it's 10 points. You cannot happen. You got to score more than that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all based on our offense. You guys saw the second game. It was the same thing, but our offense came to play. And Dable ran the ball. Our offensive line protected better. And that's another thing too, guys. Our offensive line has improved a lot.
Yeah.
Ryan Bates is in the game, is at left guard now, next to Deion Dawkins. It's helped tremendously. So running the ball, as you guys see now, Devin Singletary is getting more involved in the offense. So it's a totally different game plan going against the Patriots the third time around. I will tell you that. Even the second game around, it was more that Isaiah McKenzie came to play. I don't think they really saw that happening. Bill Belichick maybe caught off guard with Isaiah McKenzie and what he could do.
Sure.
And it burnt them. They had no answer. And Josh Allen, let me tell you, when Josh Allen's on, guys, he's the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. There's just not. He's 6'5", like 200 and something, 40 pounds. Like he's a monster of a man, fast, tough, athletic. He's not easy to take down, and when he's on his A game, it's deadly. So I see this game going just a totally. How I see this game going is basically offensively. Our defense will do exactly what they did in both games, guys. Sure. I don't see the Patriots scoring more than, honestly, 14 points. I'm going to give them 14 in this game, and I'm being nice. I really am. Mac Jones is coming to a hostile environment, guys. Yeah. Remember, Bills Mafia last year, playoffs, was 6,000 fans there. Totally different story now. It's going to be loud, live, cold. Mac Jones ain't used to that. And he's in some trouble, bro.
Todd, you got any thoughts on Mac Jones?
So, Tommy, just so you understand my perspective of Mac Jones, I see him in New England as just in a time management role, right? So imagine being in fifth grade and all of a sudden your teacher calls out and you got to bring the sub in that nobody knows. That sub is just there to manage the classroom, right? Mac Jones is just managing the classroom in New England. That's all he really does. He doesn't do anything to create a dynamic environment on the offensive side of the ball. He is just there to basically buy time to give their defense a break. And then occasionally one of the 13 running backs New England brings out will break for a long run, or maybe a screen works out somewhere along the way to Hunter Henry. Right. That's really that's most of New England's offense, right? So I just don't see, look, with Buffalo's defense, I don't see Mac Jones being a grave concern, but I think the only thing you have to consider is they're going to have to get the ball out of his hands, and they're going to have to slow the run game down, right? It can't be third down, and it can't be 3rd and 2. It has to be 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, force Mac Jones to put the ball in the air a little bit further. And I think you're right. I think Buffalo is fine, but New England's slew of running backs that they bring out, they're not great, but they fit the role, right? They have Bolden, who has come out and exploded, Stevenson, who's come out and had a great last 2 weeks. So you got to figure out a way to control that dynamic, and again, just get the ball out of Mac Jones' hand. I think you're right. I think that's how Buffalo controls the game. I don't see New England's defense giving Josh Allen too many issues. It's going to be getting the nerves out of the way in those first couple of drives. And I think you said it too. You got to give Devin Singletary the ball. I think that's been from my perspective, and as not being a Bills fan, is I don't think Devin Singletary has been involved enough in his time in Buffalo. I think that it's kind of been slow moving for him. And there was a lot of, there was a pretty high expectation for him after they drafted him based on where they got him in the draft too. And I just don't think he's gotten the opportunity yet.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree. I'm a huge Devin Singletary fan. A lot of people don't like, I'm from Florida. My friend went to FAU. So long story short was I'm a Hurricane fan, guys, by the way, not a FAU fan, so don't get it twisted. But he went there, and I said, yeah, I'll cool. Like, as long as we don't play each other, I'll root for your school. You go there. And I'm here in Michigan, and I don't know when this was, 2017. And he's like, bro, this guy, Motor Singletary, man, you gotta watch him. And I'm saying, bro, come on, it's FAU, stop. I'm not watching this fucking guy. Like, and then I'm like, you know what? I'll watch him in 2018. And bro, he was legit. Motor Singletary. And then I pulled up his numbers. I said, God damn, this guy is fucking phenomenal. All they do is run this dude. And then I was tweeting out, bro, in the draft in 2019. Draft him. You got to draft if he's available. I'm telling you, you won't mistake it. Nobody was like, and nobody's tweeting it, just me. People probably thought it was crazy. We drafted him, and he had a good rookie season. A lot of people don't realize he led the league in rushing average with Derrick Henry. And then it was Bills Mafia. Let me tell you guys one thing about Bills Mafia real quick. Bills Mafia is a little weird with their players. So they'll like a certain player, like a Duke Williams, if you guys remember him. So they'll like the underdog kind of story, but then they will hate on a certain player for, I don't know why, like Devin Singletary. So Devin Singletary was not really welcomed when he was drafted. A lot of fans were like, why? He went to FAU, blah, blah, blah. Then they kind of got on board. Then we drafted Zach Moss, and it was right back to, Zach Moss, he should be the starter. And bro, I hit Twitter hard. I said, first of all, you never seen a fucking guy run. There was no training camp, no preseason, because this is in COVID. How the hell do you know this? Stop it already. And the proof is in the pudding, man. Listen, the guy works hard. He's never going to be a outstanding, top-notch, top running back, but he comes to work. He's a team guy. The coaches love him. Josh Allen trusts him, and he can still get positive yards. And by the way, for a 5'7" guy who weighs 215 pounds, he's a little bulldozer. Don't get it twisted.
That's what
I love about
avoid the tackle.
I love that he is between the tackles. There are not a lot of less than average size running backs in the NFL that are getting their hands dirty like he does. And that was the big thing I noticed in his rookie year was he's not afraid to go under center and put his hand on his guard and let them go to work. I mean, I think that's when you learn football when you're young. That's how you learn how to run the ball, right? You trust your lineman.
Yeah.
And
watch him block, by the way.
Yeah.
When there's blitzes, you got this little short dude, 5'7", and a linebacker flying in, and he does his job. I got to tell you, man.
Yeah.
So he's underappreciated. He's very underappreciated. And real quick, guys, I know it's off topic, but I know you guys are Bengals fans. In Madden football, way years ago, I used to use the Bengals. I don't know why, even though I'm a Bills fan, because they had Achilles Smith, and I loved that he was super fast.
Hell yeah.
This is a shout out to Madden.
Wow. Achilles.
I wish that would have been real, and the name was as big as the game. I wish that would have happened. Corey Dillon, that's my dog.
We've talked about Corey Dillon immensely.
I love Corey Dillon.
I know my Bengals.
Dude, Corey Dillon was that dog, dude. I loved Corey Dillon. Probably one of the more underrated running backs of that era, in my opinion.
For sure.
But
I agree. I 100% agree with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we were talking earlier, we do this weekly pick'em. We did it all season. I unfortunately lost. We'll get into that later. But one thing I want to talk about is the shot that Corey called back in I don't know, week 8, 9,
this is
the
a long
first
time
matchup
ago.
with the Pats Bills. He was like, Patriots trying to get this one, Bills are going to win the second one. He called that before even the first game was played. So Corey, can you give us a little insight as to why you did that? And obviously you were right, so educate us.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of the way there's a lot of momentum in that game. Like, obviously I didn't predict a blizzard happening and it literally like being a one-dimensional football game. But I just kind of saw the momentum of the way things were happening at that time. The Bills were reeling a little bit and the Patriots were coming on strong. Everybody's like, holy shit, the Patriots are back. And so I just kind of felt good about that. But at the end of the day, I knew the Bills were a better football team. And we've talked a lot about it. We've talked a lot about, the quarterback play, obviously. I'm not crazy about Mac Jones. He's efficient, and he doesn't make a ton of mistakes. But watching him last week against the Dolphins, I was begging the Bengals to get the Patriots in the first round watching that game. I was like, dude, we would manhandle these guys right now. Absolutely manhandle them. One quick fact, though. We talked about, the Patriots throwing out different running backs and things like that. The number one rated Pro Football Focus running back this year, Damian Harris, is the number one rated running back in Pro Football Focus, which I wouldn't have guessed that. He probably wouldn't even been like I would just be like, tell me who it is at this point, because I'm not going to guess fucking Damian Harris. But
right.
Yeah,
you know, when it comes to this game, I honestly just don't think that a team that's lost 4 out of their last 5 come limping into the playoffs versus a team like the Bills who are riding this energy. They're riding the division championship. They're going to have the crowd at their back. I can't pick against that. I am a gambler, unfortunately, for my pocketbook, but I just couldn't bet on the Patriots right now. You never bet against the Mo, and I got the Bills taking this one. I don't know if I'm ready to just say 14 points. I don't know if I can get that. That's a low number in NFL, but in the playoffs things get a little hairy. But
you got to factor in the environment though. That's the only reason, and what they've scored. You know, the last, except for the Jaguar game, the points they've been scoring is not impressive.
Sure.
It's very low. And you know what I mean? So you got to take a lot. That's the only reason I'm giving them 14.
No, I totally get that. And honestly, the Bills defense is ranked, high, number 1 in most categories, probably overall the number 1 defense in the NFL right now. Yep. And that said, the one thing that going into this season I wasn't sure was an issue. Now I think it probably is an issue, in my opinion. And maybe it's a lack of a utilization of this thing. I think they're a running back away, and maybe it's not. Maybe Devin Singletary is that guy. Maybe Zach Moss is a good third down back. I just don't know yet. I can't confidently say that as a casual, right? As somebody that doesn't watch the Bills consistently. Like, you got a couple of running backs on the market potentially this offseason. Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley are huge trade pieces for teams that are going to rebuild, that have to rebuild. Both obviously have injury issues. What running back doesn't? I'm just asking you, as somebody that is just genuinely curious, if you, let's say, like a 3rd round pick for Saquon, are you in on that?
I'm not. Saquon is. Listen, since his injury, he's not been the Saquon of old. Christian McCaffrey, I like him a lot. Now, that would be intriguing because from what I've been told is, if they trade him, the Panthers would eat a lot of his contract.
They probably would have to get somebody to take that trade.
Right. Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
something on the deal that they have to eat like most of it. We would wind up paying them like $8 million or something small, something that wouldn't be. But McCaffrey also hit that injury bug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a true believer in this, guys, as far as running back position goes. I don't like signing them, giving big contracts to running backs. One. Yeah. They don't, for the most part.
You're a man after my heart, Tommy. I literally said this on Tuesday.
They don't last long. I mean, count them. I mean, really, let's be real, guys. How many Frank Gores, Adrian Petersons are out there? Not many, right? Mm-hmm. We can go back to the top Gurley.
Yeah, you just named them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Right, exactly. I mean, so. You look at all the guys that have been paid, right? Gurley, McCaffrey. I mean, they just don't. They're not living up. Their teams aren't playoff teams. They're just. And trust me, Buffalo. One thing about Buffalo's past, we've always had good running backs, and where did that lead us? No, we weren't good teams. We were terrible teams. You had
Shady
mode, Marshawn Lynch, Shady. We had Willis McGahee, Travis Henry. Guys, we had a lot of good running backs come through Buffalo, and it didn't lead us anywhere. Here's how I see it. I like Devin Singletary. I still think he's on a rookie deal, guys. Why even worry about that if I'm the Buffalo Bills? I am in the offseason. I'm bringing in maybe a veteran running back, like a Cordell Patterson, right? I would love Cordell to come on this team. Okay, that would be a great pickup. Or you draft another running back in the 3rd or 4th round. That's where they're going now. So I would definitely not, give up a lot if I'm going to trade for, let's say, McCaffrey. It just depends what they want. Other than that, nah, man, I would stay away from the Barkley thing. Yeah. I would not draft a running back early. In the draft for what this team needs now, I am building up that offensive line and defensive line. That's our main.
Great draft to do it.
Weaknesses. Yeah. It is. Other than that, though, the running back, no, man. I know a lot of Bills fans think that would be the key to this team, but it's not if you don't have a good offensive line.
No, I love it. I'd be
back there.
No, I love that. I'd be remiss if I didn't. We can get some people dropping in. I got to give some shout outs here. Ted Henry saying, "What's up?" Saying Chiefs all the way, y'all. We'll get to the Chiefs in a little bit. You got 3 people sitting here that might disagree, and one guy that
Ted, man, you got beef this week, sir.
Yeah, that's right. They playing Bobby Steelers on Sunday. All right, we got Rob dropping in. Rob, we appreciate you joining us. Rob, congratulations. Matt Nagy no longer your head coach, buddy. I'm happy for you.
There were definitely some celebratory beers involved in that for him.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of beers and firing coaches, did you guys see the little thing about Joe Judge like ordering like 17 pies and 14 cases of beer or something like that? Basically having his little he's sitting Shiva for his coaching job at this point, basically. So couple other shout outs here. We got Scott Blakely coming over from Tommy's channel, dropping in. Tommy, the main Mafia man. He's saying, be nice to Tommy and he'll subscribe. So he's holding our feet to the coals.
You see how Mafia? You see the Mafia?
They're taking care of you. They got your fucking feet. Say, hey, be nice to my man Tommy. Yeah, that's what he's doing. All right, Scott Blakely coming in with another comment here. No running back is very good when they get 3 handoffs a game. Feeding Singletary has made the difference. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what that's what we're saying. I think giving him a little bit more opportunity to perform is what you're looking for if you're a Bills fan. And Josh Allen's probably looking for it too. An excellent quarterback is not meant to carry the offense. The excellent quarterback is meant to run the offense and strike when needed. Make the big plays when needed, not make all of the plays. That's the difference between a team that is going to compete for a Super Bowl and a team that's going to compete to try and get into the playoffs. Those are the difference in those teams. Third-round draft use on a running back is again from Scott. Third-round draft use on a running back is optimum. Run them hard for the rookie contract and draft another one when you need it. And that's what you're seeing.
That's right.
And that's why when you saw the two biggest extensions that I saw lately that are redefining the running back market, they both came out of the AFC North. Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb. Both very team-friendly deals. Like Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb's, and they're probably 2 of the top 5 running backs in the league. Neither of those deals were like, holy shit, this guy's making a lot of money. Like nobody thought that. It was a very moderate deal, team-friendly, incentive-based, not a lot of guarantees or anything like that. And that's kind of the way that we're going, I think, in the running back. So it should be interesting. Bobby, we need to lock in our picks? Where are we at now?
No, we're not into the picks yet. I know, obviously, I think all 3 of us in respectful fashion are going with the Buffalo Bills in this matchup. But I want to get everybody's take on the latest firing in the NFL, the coaching carousel that is going to begin. David Culley, 1 year with the Houston Texans, is out. What?
Let me start.
Todd, all right.
Let me start.
Yeah,
so,
Todd's reeling.
So I would be remiss to say that I'm just disappointed in Houston as a whole.
Really bad season for them overall.
Yeah, and look,
for what it's worth, they were my pick for number 1 overall pick going into the season.
Right. And look, they've essentially they have to rebuild from the front office down to the field now. That's really the rebuild for them at this point, and that's for a very immature franchise still. This was written in the stars for Culley from the day that he was hired. There was never a point in time where there was going to be longevity for him. He was just a bookmark in a small chapter of the Texans franchise. There was never a chance for him to get an extension. There was never a chance for him to really have a winning record. It was just, hey, you're here. We're going to give you a 2-year deal because we're going to guarantee you some money, but don't unpack your bags. That's basically the perspective I got from Houston. There were a lot of people within the Houston, the Texans world that were like, yeah, this was written day one when he was hired in. There was never this guy's the future of the organization. We trust him to coach the team. It was, hey, let's just get somebody in here that we know that we can pay. Really, I think he was the 3rd lowest paid coach in the NFL this year, or 4th. Let's get somebody cheap. Let's get somebody to fill fill the docket, and then let's get somebody who's probably been a head coach but is now a coordinator again, aka Josh McDaniels. That's my guess for Houston.
So real quick, while you mentioned that, if McDaniels is the next option, is Deshaun Watson the next still the quarterback of the Houston Texans next year?
So I think that's kind of where I'm going, right? That's where I'm going.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah. So now you've opened up the Josh McDaniels door, right? It only makes sense in my opinion. And now, all of a sudden, Deshaun doesn't seem like public enemy number one anymore, right? Because now it's been a year, and I don't condone the things that he was involved in, but we're not talking about Deshaun anymore.
No, you can say that. Yeah, fuck that guy. But yeah, he throws. he plays good football. Yeah, we understand.
Yeah. So, but we're not talking about that anymore, right? That's not pertinent. That's not on the NFL's docket of things that need to be addressed.
It's where is he going?
Right. And you bring in a coach that trusts him, I don't think he goes anywhere. And somehow Deshaun's like, hey, I'm back in. Let's play some football. And now you've got 6 other quarterbacks that they have on their roster right now that are just like, well, Davis Mills is probably thinking Blue Mountain State situation, right? Best case scenario, I'm going to fucking ride the pine. I'll get my contract for the next 2 years, and then I just move on and I go start being a quarterback's coach somewhere.
Or a backup quarterback somewhere. I mean, honestly, it's best job in football if you want to be able to pick up your grandkids and stuff. It's a great gig. A couple of guys rolling. Bill's Mafia coming in hot in the chat right now. Jance Sports saying, "What's up, fellas?" Jack Me. Bill's going all full force with no brakes. And giving a shout out, Scott, saying he doesn't see your names on the screen, guys. But your analysis is very good. Go ahead and pick on Tommy. I'll subscribe anyway. Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
if Ben, this is from Corin Thompson. If Ben can survive as long as he did, no reason Deshaun doesn't get the same play. Oh, wowzers. Pulling it out for you, Bobby. He's going decades deep with the Roethlisberger take there. I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
Yes.
All right, so I'm curious. I popped in on the show a little bit as you were getting started, and I think you touched on this topic here with your show earlier tonight. So what was your take on this, Tommy?
8 firings this year. A lot of them were needed. If you're that's your team. John Gruden obviously was one that was needed. I thought he was honestly, guys. John Gruden, I thought it was needed last season, but it is what it is. But he's out. So they're going to be looking for a coach. As far as the Houston thing, I disagree. I think Watson's done. I think Watson wants to leave. He doesn't give a fuck who is coming in as head coach at this point. I think he thinks they have something to do with the whole scandal that happened. By the way,
that's a hot take.
Listen, when there's smoke, there's fire. Even if nothing comes up of it, he's guilty in my book. Now, it is what it is. I'm not going to speak totally on that, but I don't know, man. Usually smoke, there's fire. But anyways,
I totally hear you.
Vic got fired. Vic Fangio for the Denver Broncos. He's a good DC, guys. Very good defensive coordinator. If Frazier leaves, I wouldn't mind him in Buffalo. He's good at defense. Just head coach material. He just seemed like he just had no fire. Just not his role as a head coach, and that's fine. Everybody else kind of deserved it. The only coach I will say I was a little surprised was Flores. Winning 8 out of 9, guys. That's not easy to do. They are a fuck up there in Miami. I gotta say, from the ownership, and I gotta tell you, I tell everybody this: any sport franchise, doesn't matter, football, basketball, baseball, it all starts from the top. Ownership, right? GM, coaches, then the players. When you don't have that in order, it's all fucked, and your team's fucked. And you can get whatever player you want on here, whatever free agent, and it ain't gonna make a difference. You're gonna be a disaster. And that's what the Dolphins has been. And I know from firsthand because Buffalo was that way for the longest time, right? Where GMs, coaches could never get it right. And right now, and honestly, it starts from the ownership. You got bad ownership, hiring bad GMs, hiring bad coaches. It's just a bad mixture of oil and water. It doesn't mix. And that's what's going on in Miami. They cannot get it right. He stuck with Greer. If I'm Miami, I would have kept Flores, in my opinion, and fired Greer. And if you're gonna fire Flores, fire Greer and start all over again. I thought the Tua draft pick was bad when you had what's his name out there, Herbert. It's been a disaster. So that is the weirdest firing because I think he's a good coach. I do. That's one of the coaches out there that I think is a good coach. However, is he a little bit coming from that Belichick system too hard-nosed and the players aren't respecting him as a head coach? That may be where
you saw that here in Detroit, right? You saw that with Matt Patricia. Well, first of all, Matt Patricia's a fucking
Patricia's
bozo.
A bum.
Yeah,
he's a fucking
clown. He can't even fold the towels in the facility.
No,
so
he's a bum with his leg hiding behind the fucking
that scooter riding bitch with
Gatorade.
The pencil. Yeah, fuck that guy. And look at the way. And I'm just gonna go on a rant here. Sorry. Look at the way that this piece of shit carried himself on the sideline with the fucking hat back. Who the fuck do you think you are? Do you think this is just a fucking high school? Do you think this is Friday night? You have one of 32 jobs, sir. Put your hat forward. Show some fucking respect. Clean up the goddamn beard. All right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, my God.
Well, I did read an article today in regard to Brian Flores. A very possible landing spot for him is actually Houston. He is really good and really tight with the GM there, Nick Caserio. And there's a lot of speculation that he's going to be the Texans' next head coach. So if that is the case, what do you guys think? Is good move for Flores? Bad move? Can he do it?
That's a fucking dumpster fire.
There's two.
Risky.
There's three organizations that I don't touch with a 10-foot pole. If I'm anybody, the New York Jets, I don't touch them. I don't trust anything they do. I don't trust any moves they make. They drafted Zach Wilson. I was like a Mormon in fucking New York City. Are you kidding me? This is going to be hilarious. And I just don't believe in anything they do. The Dolphins are the number 2. So you're very lucky being a Bills fan. You got 2 of these organizations in your division. You see them twice a year. It's beautiful for you. The Dolphins are another one. I don't trust anything that they do. They haven't been relevant in damn near 40 years. I'm sorry. They're a dumpster fire. I love being on Bengals Twitter and just watching Dolphins fans be like, fuck you for taking Burrow. Fuck you for taking Jamar Chase. Yada yada. They go on and on about it. Like, Burrow's going to fail. He should go to Miami instead of Cincinnati. Now I'm just watching it all implode, and it's just beautiful. So if I'm Brian Flores, and real quick comment on that, we talked about it on Tuesday, all of this is kind of stemming from Tua, from what we're kind of uncovering here, is that the GM wanted to draft Tua. Brian Flores did not want him or did not want to play him at all. They did it anyway, and then they forced his hand. The wound continued to fester. You got 2 strong-willed individuals in Flores and the GM there in Miami. 2 strong-willed individuals resulting in an impassable, problem there in Miami. So he's gone. If I'm Brian Flores, though, I'm doing everything I can to stay the fuck out of Houston. I cannot stand the decisions that they made over the last 5 years, the assets that they gave up, and what they got in return for. I'm obviously thinking about Hopkins and J.J. Watt, 2 of the top-end players in their position at the time. J.J. Watt's obviously regressed with age and injuries, etc. But I cannot comprehend with what they've done that anyone would just be like, you know what? Yeah, this is the right fit for me. The Bears are kind of in that sentence as well, and kind of what they've done or failed to do. Nonetheless, I think the Bears kind of a little bit more than any of those teams. The one for me for Brian Flores is pretty simple. As long as they don't hire their interim coach, I think the Las Vegas Raiders are the best solution for Brian Flores. I think it would be a perfect fit. The defense is already set. He can focus on offense. He can get a young aspiring offensive coordinator come in, or maybe an offensive coordinator that's no longer as a coach, and really get that team. They're ready to win. They're a couple steps away. We'll get to why they aren't ready to win this weekend here in a little bit, but a couple more comments I definitely want to get to. Let's see here. Scott echoing what we're saying. Scott Blakely. Flores was the most ridiculous firing. However, Bills Mafia doesn't mind the cluster that's going on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. A couple other comments. This is again, Scott. Wherever wherever Watson goes, it will be a good business growth. Can you imagine the number of massage parlors that open? Him and Robert Kraft can hang out. If we lose Frazier, I want Flores to replace him. Most likely he'll get a coaching gig, however. Yeah, absolutely. Bryant Groff hopping in the chat with a hooday.
Hooday.
Let's see. Jack agrees with Scott here. Greer's slime. Scott is getting crazy. He's getting wild tonight. Greer's slime. Fans are delusional.
If I could chime in real quick on that real quick.
Yeah,
Scott.
yeah.
I have a feeling that, and I've been saying it, guys. I'm telling you, Dable and Frazier, this is it for them. They will get hired. And what I would love to see and what I can see happening, I think Dable, even though guys, by the way, I'm not a Dable fan. I don't like Dable. Okay, I think he's gotten better as an OC, but I still think he's overrated. But he's going to be a head coach. But I could see him going to Minnesota as a good fit for Dable because he's an offensive coach, and they have good weapons there. And then Frazier, I would think he would go with the Bears. I think he would be a great fit for the Bears. Bring back that defense there. So I could see that happening. Now, they got interviewed for the Dolphins, and
they did.
My God, if they go there, and Dable, by the way, Dable was the OC there, got fired after one season.
So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about them.
It would be amazing if they hired Dable. I would laugh my ass off.
Well, the funny thing about them interviewing Frazier is like, man, wouldn't it be great if the Dolphins had a competent, defensive-minded head coach? Oh, wait, you just fucking had one, you idiots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Travis
won 8 out of 9, 10 games a year before.
Right. Their first back-to-back winning seasons in 15 years, and you fire them. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Travis coming in again saying, if Houston hires Flores, is he enough to get Watson to stay? It sounded like Flores wanted Watson bad and not Tua. Sounded like Watson was kind of Flores was kind of that guy driving the Watson stuff. Our guest Nathan from 4 Laps Down on Tuesday was saying, he's like, I'm calling BS on the whole thing. None of it ever happened. It was just smoke from the media. Well, we may never know, but we may never know. So, but I think Culley should have gotten more time unless they told him going in like, hey, we're going to give you just some shine. This might get you more offensive coordinating or, some coordinating spots down the road, but this is a 1-year thing. Unless they told him that up front, I'm never a fan of cutting a guy loose after 1 year. I think they need time to be able to do what they need to do.
Yeah, I got a 3-year rule on that for the most part. I always say 3 years. If you haven't done anything in 3 years, then you got to go. You know what I mean? But 1 year, my God, fair. It's already it's a dump. If you're hired as a coach, 9 times out of 10, you're going to a team that is in bad shape.
They suck. Yeah,
9 times out of 10. Right?
Yeah, it's exactly like anybody getting drafted, a quarterback getting drafted in the top 5 picks. You're not going to a team that's ready to rumble. You're going to a rebuilding franchise. So don't give them a bunch of shit if they have a losing record in the first couple of years. Right. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Guys, the chat is going down a Watson rabbit hole right now. The chat is going down a Watson rabbit hole. So Ryan, who's a Jaguars fan, he said, I would love to see the Jaguars pick up Flores. I was really surprised about the Dolphins firing him. Watson doesn't like the McNairs, I thought. So that could be a reason why he wouldn't stay. The McNairs. Is that Houston? I am not familiar with the family name. So I'm not entirely sure on who the McNairs is. It could be Houston. It could be the ownership group there in Houston, which, Ryan, if you have that information, go ahead and drop that back in the chat so you can educate our dumbasses. But, so interesting nonetheless. We kind of went off on a tear there. Talking Houston owners is what Travis is jumping in the chat saying. I appreciate that, Travis. So, I mean, that makes sense. I wouldn't like them either. So,
yeah, it's not like they're doing much to build an organization around you. Or if you're fucking Deshaun Watson, they took all your weapons away and they left you with Rex Burkhead and Duke Johnson.
Rex Burkhead just signed an extension with the Texans, by the way. Woo!
Solid.
I will say, though, to chime in, somebody mentioned Davis Mills. He had a decent rookie season. I got to say, at first when I saw him, when we played him, I was like, oh, this guy, and we ate him up. But he got better. I got to say, he's probably the second best rookie quarterback playing-wise. Now, obviously, future-wise, no. The Trevor Lawrence obviously is going to probably amount to a lot better than Davis Mills. But Davis Mills, they're going to go back in the season and look, Mac Jones was the best rookie quarterback, as far as winning percent, what he did. And then Davis Mills, I got to say, he played better than the Jets quarterback, and he played better than the Jaguars quarterback. However, they both are terrible, terrible, terrible teams.
Yeah.
But Davis Mills is too. And Davis Mills outperformed them, in my opinion. So maybe he is the answer if you could build a team around him. But Deshaun ain't staying, bro. He's not staying.
Tommy, who's your friend? You got a dog behind you.
Oh, that's Princess, man. That's my adopted dog.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
Hi, Princess.
Very nice. Well, let's kind of transition this into the playoff picture that is coming this weekend. The first playoff game of the young season. The Las Vegas Raiders versus your Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are hosting the Raiders. Obviously, the previous matchup did not bode well for the Raiders. Todd, Corey, I give you guys the floor. Give us a prognosis on this game.
The defense is healthy. Cincinnati's defense is healthy. That's the
Bengals just got real healthy, real fast, really quietly.
Yes. Yeah, that's pertinent to them being, in my opinion, the winner of this game, right? They have to. Their defense had to get healthy quickly. And Corey and I, we talked about Marcus Bailey, we talked about Logan Wilson, we talked about Jermaine Pratt. But really, it's gonna come down to Trey Hendrickson, DJ Reader, and Sam Hubbard getting pressure on Derek Carr. That's gonna be the key on the defensive side of the ball, because Las Vegas.
It's so tough to get out of.
Yeah,
I keep calling the Chargers the San Diego Chargers. That's okay.
It is.
There are a lot of good athletes on the offensive side of the ball for Las Vegas. You have Darren Waller, who is a top 5 tight end. You have Zay Jones, who's super athletic. Hunter Renfrow, who's super athletic. And then you have Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake, who aren't a slouch either in the backfield. But
you're forgetting 2006 Rookie of the Year, Deshaun Jackson and his fucking corpse are on that team too.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that he got cut and re-signed. I forgot he got signed by the Raiders. But I think the real key on the defensive side of the ball is just pressuring Derek Carr. Because, look, it's going to be cold. Carr's a California boy. He's a West Coast guy. I think weather has a big implication on his performance in this game. And if the Bengals can stop Josh Jacobs early in the game, stop the ground game, at least slow it down and force Derek Carr to get the ball outside of the front 7 or 8, then that's where the Bengals start to get to go to work. On the offensive side of the ball, why mess up a good thing? Let's get the ball to Joe Mixon, right? Let's get Mixon involved. Let's get him 30 to 35 touches and open up that 15 to 25 yards that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins lived beautifully in the second half of this season. And let's just let the boys go to work. I love when the Bengals let Mixon run the ball. That's when they do their damage. And they handled Las Vegas when they played them in the regular season.
They sure did. T. Higgins was a full participant in practice this week.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's all about getting Mixon the ball. That's the key to them getting up early, right? And chipping away at the clock as the game goes on. So that, I think that's really, it starts with Mixon and then it ends with time management. That's how the Bengals win.
No, I like that analysis. Scott coming in saying he's smelling a Raiders upset in his opinion. No pressure is what he's saying. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. There's 31 fucking years of pressure building on this team right now.
There's a lot riding on this game for Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow knows that.
So
and the rest of the Cincinnati team.
And I think when it comes down to games where Joe Burrow needs to perform, the kid has done nothing but that. He's literally shown that he is a winner. He embraces the pressure. He embraces all of it and just turns into I'm going to rip your soul out kind of player. And it's amazing because when you sit down and watch Joe Burrow, he just looks like, I was an Eagle scout and, I help elderly people across the street. And then you watch him on the field and you're like, this kid is a ruthless son of a bitch. And it's a lot of fun to watch as a fan, obviously. So my analysis is a little bit the same, a little bit. Todd, you mentioned on the defensive side of the ball, getting pressure on Derek Carr. Then you kind of mentioned shutting down Josh Jacobs. I'm going to go with the latter part of that. I think Really, the key is shutting down Josh Jacobs and making Derek Carr the one that's going to beat you. Derek Carr, over the last 5 games, 5 interceptions. Josh Jacobs, over the last 4 games, he's had almost 100 yards in every one of those games. The Raiders had needed 4 consecutive wins. Josh Jacobs came up big in all of those wins. Now,
yeah, he's the reason that they beat the Chargers. Josh Jacobs is the reason they beat the Chargers.
And I'm not like as a fan that's going into this game, I'm not super scared of that because the Chargers, statistically speaking, are one of the worst rush defenses in football. So I mean, that makes a lot of sense that was their game plan going into this. More on the defensive side of the ball. Put it in Derek Carr's hands. That's what I'm saying. So Derek Carr, in games that are below 32 degrees, he's 0-5. He has never played in a playoff game just the same as Joe Burrow. And when it comes down to it, which one are you more confident in? I'm more confident Joe Burrow is going to get the win than I am in Derek Carr. So now flipping it on the offensive side of the ball, what the Raiders like to do defensively is kind of this like cover 3, bend but don't break defense. They like to drop a corner back into deep coverage along with the safeties. You're not going to beat us deep. We're going to take that part away from you. And they did that successfully against the Bengals in the first matchup out there in the desert in Allegiant Stadium. They took away the deep ball. Joe Burrow, I think, had like 180 yards. They weren't very explosive in terms of big plays. They had a couple with T. Higgins. But in my opinion, what you're really going to get on these guys is the stuff over the middle with Tyler Boyd. I think Tyler Boyd is going to have a monster game. This is his first playoff game. He's been building. He's been with this through the entire end of the Marvin Lewis and the beginning of the Zach Taylor era. He's seen it all. He's ready to make an impact, and I think this is the game to do it. And you're not wrong about Joe Mixon. But in my opinion, this is not a between-the-tackles Joe Mixon game. So the way the Raiders front is built, it's get depth, right? And I think it's Ngakoue on the other side and Max Crosby. Get depth. That is their game, right? So how do you combat that as an offense? You combat that by running these stretch zone plays. I got this from Bengals Sands on Twitter. If you're looking for any kind of offensive line or defensive schematic breakdowns, Bengals Sands on Twitter, this guy crushes it every single time. He's showing you that when you stretch it out wide like that, run these little pitch outs to the outside, at this point, Max Crosby's taken himself out of the game. He's taken himself out of the play. He's too deep. He can't get back. And so when you're running a crack block from a wide receiver on the defensive end, the wide receiver doesn't have to do anything. And at that point, you've got your left tackle and guard out there on corners and space. Let's go. Let's go every time. So I think it is going to be a Joe Mixon. You're going to see him getting spread out. I'd like to see him working into the pass game as well. I'd love to see some wheel routes and dinking it out to Joe and letting him work. I think we can be really, really effective here. I don't want to get too confident, but you talked about it, Tommy, with the Bills fans. I think the jungle is going to be rocking, and it was against the Chiefs when we beat the Chiefs at home to clinch the division. And I think this city is buzzing right now. The city of Cincinnati, they are ready for this. They are definitely hungry, and they feel like this is the team to do it. So, Tommy, I'm really curious about your perspective as somebody that's not, balls deep and just loving the Bengals.
I've brung you guys up quite a bit, to be honest with you, in my because I have a Saturday show called AFC East Shakedown.
Nice.
I know you guys aren't in my division, but I brought you guys up a few times because I always say you guys are such a weird team this season. I always say if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm saying, man, 1 week we win. I'll pull it up. Like, let's see, a good game, you guys. Okay, you beat Baltimore 41-17. The next week you lose to the Jets.
I know.
And then you lose to the Browns, and then you come back and you beat the Raiders, and then you squash Pittsburgh, but then you get blown out by the Chargers. So if I'm a Bengals fan, I always say, man, it's like, what team am I getting this week?
Sure.
And now I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't watch you guys like that, but I just see the scores because I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, look at the Bengals, right? Like as an outsider, holy shit, they just squashed like this team. And then next week, what did the Jets do? So it's like, it's just really weird, but you guys have a great quarterback. I really like Burrow. I gotta say, he bounced back from that injury. He's played awesome. Man, your wide receiver is off the chain.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And they were saying he had like they were worried about his hands in the preseason, and boy, oh boy.
They look pretty good so far.
Yeah. And Mixon's always been pretty good. I got to say, Mixon's always been a very tough running back. Other than that, your defense is really what gives up a lot of points when you lose. That's the one thing I got to say that worries me, for you guys moving forward. But the Raiders, I don't trust them. They don't have a head coach right now that's that he's a fill-in. Let's be real. He won't be their head coach next season. Derek Carr is hit or miss more than most quarterbacks that are in the playoffs right now. I got to say, I just don't trust him. I see the Bengals winning this game at home. I just think you guys have way too many weapons, and the Raiders are just not going to be able to counter, in my opinion.
Absolutely. As long as the Bengals don't crumble.
If you don't show up, though, that's the problem. So, like, what Bengals team is coming to play?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you not show up for this? Like, if you're on that team, and obviously
it happens. Look at the Colts.
Right.
I'm
right.
just saying, and it just sway off, this little real quick. If any team I was worried about, and not even really were worried, but a little like, I don't kind of want to play them, would be the Colts, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So
right.
So it's just weird how football this year, guys. The NFL was wacky, bro. I gotta say,
sure.
A lot of weird games, a lot of upsets, and the Colts. That was a shocker, man. But you guys, like I said, man, as long as your defense can even play decent, I think your offense will do enough to get past the Raiders.
Yeah. As long as the Bengals show up and don't crumble under the pressure, which
that's it. Yeah,
that's really all they got to do. They just got to show up and play the game that they've been playing the last couple of weeks, and they will be just fine.
Absolutely, and I think the best thing going for the Bengals right now, it ain't 14 with red hair taking snaps, baby. Those days are over. It ain't Andy fucking Dalton. It ain't. This is an MVP conversation quarterback. This is
tough kid too.
Yeah, just a quick sidebar. I don't know if you guys touched on this on Tuesday. But Colin Cowherd picked Joe Burrow as MVP for the NFL. By the way,
wow,
just a quick hot take.
That dude's been stroking Brady's dick for a decade. It's absurd.
He has absolutely. But no, this game's actually my bold prediction for the week is actually in this game. I think the Bengals win by 20.
Plus. Bobby, if that happens, I am hammered drunk.
I think Joe Burrow shows up. I think that whole team shows up, and they're gonna put their stamp on why they're gonna be one of the best teams over the next 10 years. That's my bold prediction for this week.
I'll be doing the gritty on a live video.
Next game on the board, we already talked a ton about Pats Bills. We all got the Bills. Tommy, give us a bold prediction for this game. Whether it is points, yardage, who's going to explode in this game?
Yeah, so it's going to be a really shitty day in Buffalo, as usual. 27-14. I got the Bills winning. I think Devin Singletary rushes for 100 yards.
Hey,
that's bold. I think he has a touchdown. So 100 yards, one touchdown. I think Josh Allen runs for another 75. It's going to be a running day.
I'm pulling up
Josh Allen
Caesars.
will also getting a running touchdown. Yeah. So it's 27-14. By the way,
the over-under is on those rushing yards for Josh Allen.
31-21 for the Bengals, if I were to
Okay.
All right. I like it.
All right. Fair
Obviously.
Enough. Sure. Next game we have on the board, I don't think this is going to be a tough one for any of us. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles on the road versus Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay defending champs.
Man,
the Bucs have had a lot of games this year that they lost that I was just blown away by.
New Orleans?
New Orleans.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They got beat by the New York Jets too, right?
They almost.
They had to do a miraculous Tom Brady comeback.
Yes, he came back. They almost lost. But yeah, so I mean that team is a little iffy right now. But it's Tom Brady in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
Tommy, what's your take on this one?
Philly is not beating Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. I
hope we aren't cutting a clip of this right now where you just said that and we all laughed and we're just like, and then showing the final box score.
I got it.
If that happens, that's 100% of video.
34-14.
34-14
Okay.
Bucks.
Tampa.
All right.
Yeah.
Todd, Corey, you guys got anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's a big day for Leonard Fournette, and Lombardi Lenny's going to have a day, and I think, like you said, it's really, really, really hard to bet against Tom Brady, especially in the first round of the playoffs. So
Right.
I'm going. Sure. And Nathan Nickel with a comment: Jalen Hurts isn't beating Tom Brady. Sorry, boys.
I would agree with that.
Look, here's my takeaway. I don't think, I'm not saying Philadelphia is going to beat Tampa Bay. That's not the case. But I think a lot of people were so low on Jalen Hurts to start the year, and we're very like on the downswing of Jalen Hurts, and he's had a nice year. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that the dude's put up miraculous numbers because he's had some tough games, but
he had some really good games too.
Right, but he fits the quarterback mold. Right, he's very mobile. He's got a great arm. And now he's getting back to work with Devonta Smith. He's going back to that route, and they're starting to get comfortable with each other. And that's a good running game in Philadelphia. But the problem is that everybody on Tampa Bay's team is back from any injury that has existed over the previous 6 weeks. They're bringing back the same 22 that played in the Super Bowl last year. They're playing against Philadelphia, and that makes me believe that team is going to be.
Well, that's not true, Todd, because AB ain't there.
Well, I exclude him.
He wasn't. He didn't start in the Super Bowl. I don't think, did he?
No, he's not. He was like their sixth option. He just somehow ended up.
He had a couple touchdowns, but yeah, I think it's a pretty easy one. We all got the Bucks. That gets us halfway through our picks for the weekend. I do want to get into Corey. You forgot to introduce what you're drinking tonight, sir.
Oh well, at first earlier this evening I was going with the Shorts Locals Light. This is a Shorts Brewery, Bel Air, Michigan, and it's a low carb beer, and it's a craft brewery low carb beer. So I mean, I got Cabo in like 25 days. I got to lean it out. I got to look good. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go with that. But then I got, we had Nathan Nickel on last Tuesday, 4 laps down. He came out, and those 4 laps down Nation boys. This Tommy, for if you're not aware, this is a NASCAR podcast, and they sip exclusively on the Busch Latte. So I got a few of those left over tonight. That's what Daddy's sipping on over here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Tommy, what are you sipping on?
Tonight was
the Bats. There
you
go.
The little Bats, baby.
That man is definitely in Detroit.
Absolutely. And myself, I'm drinking a little Samuel Adams. It's their seasonal beer that comes out every January.
Is that
the Cold Snap?
Cold Snap, dude. That is one of the best Sam Adams beer. Keep drinking. They're one of my largest customers. Keep drinking that Sam Adams.
It's my favorite beer. Todd can attest that there was one point in time many years ago when I was still living at home, the refrigerator in my dad's basement, I filled the entire side up, shelf top to bottom, with Cold Snap.
He knocked out the entire Kroger stock of Cold Snap, and he called me and was like, I think I bought 128 Cold Snaps. And I was like, shit, okay.
Yeah, it's like straight out of a movie, dude. Yeah, my favorite beer ever.
That's awesome.
So this is one of the things I look forward to in the winter. One of the few things I look forward to in the winter.
Can I need to know who won though? Who won Pick'em?
Oh, sorry, we didn't. You guys, okay? We'll get to the rest of the picks in a minute. So it actually got real close.
So we need to give Tommy a little background on this.
Yeah, so Tommy, we did picks every week this year, with the exception of one because it was Thanksgiving and we all forgot. It was
Christmas.
It was Christmas. Excuse me. I knew it was one of the holidays.
No, we value our family. That's what we'll say.
We were spending time with family and out of town, and just slipped our minds. So all good. So we missed a week, but all in all, It was really tight going into the last couple weeks of the year. I kind of fell behind a little bit, but it was super close between Todd and Corey. The ending margin for the year was 5 games between last place and then first place, which we'll get to.
Oh wow, okay.
I came in the cellar at 152-94. So still a pretty solid winning record.
Going to the playoffs.
Going to the playoffs for sure. But with a wacky season, as you had described earlier, which it definitely was, there were a lot of games that were tough to pick this year, and even games that you thought you were sure on, you lost. So, Corey, you went 9-7 this week. Todd, you went 8-8.
Damn it.
So Todd, this was one of your worst weeks. But ultimately you won by a game. So Todd has the crown.
One fucking game.
156-89. Corey, you came in at 155-90.
You fucking Washington football team. The fucking Washington football team. You bastards. God damn it.
Unbelievable. Great season.
Tommy, just so you know, I was in last place, and Corey and Bobby were
Shut the fuck up, Todd. You were in last place in like week 8. Week 8, you were in last place.
He was like 3 or 4 games down. He came out of the cellar.
Shut the fuck up.
Good rebound, man.
That sounds like
this is not Rudy. This is not Rudy. All right, this ain't the fucking Hoosiers, Todd.
Lose the dignity.
This ain't the Hoosiers.
Listen up, but look, just take the L.
I'll take silver. Bobby's taking the L. All right.
All I heard you say was, "Sorry, I was wrong. Congratulations. Thank you very much for that."
Congratulations, Todd. That's up to you, buddy.
Thank you.
Well done, sir. Yeah. So I guess you guys are coming down, and I'm whipping up some
Bobby owes us a steak
steaks.
dinner. We're gonna have a nice steak dinner, some wine, and Frank Sinatra. I think is. Yeah. I deserve to be wined and dined. I think that's what I deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna whip you guys up some of the finest meat you ever had.
Oh, I'm brick hard now. Thank you.
All right, on to the second half of this weekend's matchups. I think this is probably one of 2 really tough matchups to pick. We've got the 49ers on the road in Dallas. This is going to be a good game. It's an absolute toss-up. Corey, take it away.
Yeah, so all year we have been hearing about how effective and how explosive this Dallas team is. And more often than not, when I gamble on the Cowboys, I'm screwed over. That being said, you're looking at a San Francisco 49ers team that I believe started the season 1-4, maybe 1-5 if I'm not mistaken, and has clawed their way back in the most competitive division in the NFL, at least the best record-wise division in the NFL. 3 playoff teams coming out of the NFC West, just like we predicted. Might not have predicted Seattle to be as abysmal as they were. But nonetheless, they have clawed their way out of this division. And at the end of the day, I think that what the Cowboys defense is able to do is not enough against what the San Francisco 49ers are going to want to do on the field. And I think it's an impose your will kind of game. And when you look at personnel versus personnel, the 49ers have the guys to do it. I think they're playing some of the best football in the league right now. The way that they came off that win in LA, against LA. I can't remember if it was in San Fran or not, but it
was in LA.
That's right. It was in Los Angeles. A must win for them, and they closed it out. I think they're riding high right now, feeling good and confident. And my player of the game is going to be Deebo Samuel. I think he's going to just rip them apart.
He's been one of the best receivers all year.
Yeah, and he's going to have a huge game. And they have probably the best left tackle in football right now. So I'm going with the Niners.
Tommy?
Yeah.
This is a tough game. It is. But I'm going to go Dallas. I love their defense. I do.
Sure.
Diggs. Their rookie, I forget his name offhand, but
Micah Parsons.
He is, Parsons is, he's an animal, guys.
He is. He's a freak. Dude.
It worked out perfectly. they put him at the edge, and he's been a dog. I like San Francisco too, but the only problem with San Francisco is I'm not a Jimmy G fan. Something about him, man. I just don't trust Jimmy G in big games. So I'm going to take Dallas. I'm going to take Dallas in this game at home. I think the defense is gonna be the key here. It's not going to be really so much the offense. It's going to get Dallas that victory. I think it's going to be the defense and turnovers. I can see a couple turnovers here on San Francisco, and that will play the big key and why San Francisco loses. And I got it being, I'm going to say 32-23. 32-23.
All right, fair enough.
Dallas.
Made some good points
Nice
there.
cover there.
I'm going to dovetail off that here in a little bit, but Todd, go ahead.
So I think Corey brings up a really good point, and I'm not really sure if Dallas has an answer for Deebo Samuel, because Deebo Samuel runs the ball now too. They have created a package for him out of the backfield that basically provides him almost like a triple option style for Deebo Samuel. And I don't know if Dallas has a stop for him on the other side of the ball. With his size, his speed, and just his durability. And I feel funny saying that because he's been injury laden for the rest of his career. But with him being healthy, he is such an asset on the offensive side of the ball, similar to how Atlanta's used Cordarrelle Patterson most of the year. They're starting to use Deebo Samuel that way, and he actually has 3 rushing touchdowns in the last 4 games for San Francisco.
I think he set the record for most rushing touchdowns by a wide receiver.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see what Dallas does, because I think, Tom, you bring up a good point, Micah Parsons, but Trayvon Diggs is only good at interceptions. That's where he makes his money. He's great at picking the ball off. He's not a great defender. And I think that if you can line Deebo up against Trayvon, size beats luck, which I think Trayvon Diggs has had a lot of luck this year. So I'm picking the 49ers.
And real quick, just one thing I did want to mention that I forgot to is that another reason why I'm taking the 49ers is I think they have a better head coach. I think it comes to game plan and scheme. I think Kyle Shanahan is probably a better preparer and schemer than Mike McCarthy, and that I think that comes up huge in the playoffs. That's where you see the good coaches shine. So that's another reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the Cowboys being at home, I think they have a huge advantage.
Yeah.
I would feel a lot more comfortable taking the 49ers in this game if Trey Lance was at the helm, especially the relationship that he has with Deebo. I think that connection is electric, and I think maybe a couple years down the line when Jimmy G's not there and Trey Lance is, under center, I think that we see the 49ers as a very formidable team as long as they can keep that core together
and stay healthy.
Yeah,
right.
That's the key.
With that being said, the 49ers are still way too hot to go against them. Dallas in the playoffs is never a good bet. I'm taking the 49ers. So
yeah, you know what? I almost said that, but I'm like, yeah, my team hasn't won a game in a long time either. So
that's exactly why I didn't say that. So Bobby can say that. We cannot say that.
Yeah, as a Steelers fan, Bobby can make that comment. I can't call a team out for not winning in the playoffs.
Well, speaking of the Steelers, that's the next matchup. We have the Steelers on the road in Kansas City with a quarterback who blatantly came out and said this week, we don't have a shot. Let's just go out there and have fun.
I love it. I love that comment. Objectively and not a Steelers fan, I love what he just said.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, I understand where he's coming from. You don't feel like you have a shot versus a team that has been the most dominant team, in the AFC for the last couple seasons, but the Steelers have Najee Harris, and that's really it.
Oh, no. You didn't hear the news?
Juju's coming back this week.
Corvette himself is back.
Yeah, I heard.
Juju shit poopster is back, baby.
Yeah, I think he's the third best receiver on that team.
I think that's probably fair. Well, here's can I comment on the Juju thing? I think he did himself a misservice trying to be the number one guy. You're not that. You're not an outside receiver, Juju. You are a slot. and you're damn good at it. He is so good at being a slot receiver, but he does like it's his like pride and his want and desire to be the number one, outside threat, that the X receiver, if you will. That's not you, bro. But look at the top receivers this year in the league. Cooper Kupp, where does he play out of most of the time?
Slot.
He's playing out of the slot. You know what I mean? Tyler Boyd playing out of the slot. Other than if he would have got 1,000 this year, it'd be 3 consecutive 1,000 yards receiving for Tyler Boyd in terms of seasons. And I mean, when it comes to Cole Beasley, another very effective, good slot receiver. It's pride for Juju and mental more than it is athletic ability and talent.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my take on this, for the Steelers need an absolute miracle to win this week. I mean, it's going to take every bit of the Chiefs getting damaged very, very heavily from a personnel perspective in order for the Steelers to pull out a victory. The Chiefs are just way too talented. Travis Kelce, there is nobody on that defense that can. There's not a lot of people in the NFL that can guard Travis Kelce. I mean, even Tyreek Hill. That offense is just way too explosive. So I love the Steelers, but if I'm putting money on it, I'm taking the Chiefs. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, Kansas City has so many weapons. They have so many weapons, and every week there's just a new weapon that just comes out of Andy Reid's size 55 pants, and I just have no idea where he's pulling these people out of.
It actually comes from his mustache.
It is, or maybe it's from the shitty mask that he wore last year during the COVID.
Dude, that shit was hilarious.
But regardless, there are so many athletic assets on the offensive side of the ball for Kansas City. Yeah. I'm not really sure if there's anybody anywhere that can shut that offense down in a best of one. But it did happen, right? We saw it happen. And look, I picked that solely off of my love for the Bengals. There was no there was no evidence that pointed me in that direction. The stars aligned in the moment for Bengals fans and for Cincinnati itself for them winning that game. But Kansas City is just so explosive that it's hard to ever go against them at any point in time.
Tommy?
No, he's right. Listen, Pittsburgh, it's a shocker they're here. Let's be real.
I was blown away when they got in. I'm just like, how? Right. How do we manage to get in the playoffs after the season that we had?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jaguars, and thank you, Las Vegas.
It's
for not taking a knee and tying the game. And
I mean, for sure.
The Steelers don't deserve to be there. They really don't.
No, they don't. It's a good send off,
right?
For Big Ben.
Made the playoffs. Good for you.
For his Hall of Fame career. I thought it was a mistake bringing him back, to be honest with you. But Pittsburgh probably wasn't ready to draft a quarterback. And the problem with Pittsburgh moving forward is there's no good quarterbacks coming out. Out of the draft next season.
I mean, the goal this season is to grab one of the free agents. That's going to
They're going to have to. Yep. And so they're going to have to put
a Band-Aid on it for a couple years until we can get a draft class that's going to suit us. Picking somebody up early. Corey, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Tommy, go ahead and finish. Do you have anything else?
I was going to say Kansas City. How you got to beat Kansas City? Honestly, and we beat them this year. You got to play very physical with Kansas City. You got to get Kelce, beat him up at the line, which we did. Even if you got some penalties, Pittsburgh's defense is sneaky good. They are a veteran defense. They got a great head coach too. So, but that being said, in Kansas City, a very tough place to play. I think KC has too much weapons. They're very fast, a lot of speed. I'm going to say 37-17. I don't think this is close.
Yeah, I think honestly, this is going to turn into more of a defensive game for Kansas City. And over the backstretch of the season, Kansas City really turned into a really, really good defense. At the start of the year, when they were having a lot of troubles, you were putting it on their defense. It was them and the Cowboys as the worst two defenses in football at the time, and Kansas City obviously has turned that around. So the way that you beat Kansas City, and your Bills have done it, My Bengals have done it. The way you beat them is you make McCole Hardman and their running game the stars of their game. That's how you beat them.
Yep.
You take away Travis Kelce. The Bengals did that. He had like 50 yards. You take away Tyreek Hill. I think he maybe had 30. Maybe.
He did. He had 27 yards.
Thank you. Exactly.
I lost a
prop
fantasy
bet.
football championship because of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's how you beat them. You turn them. You want Williams and is Edwards-Helaire back? Is he playing? Okay. So you want them having days. You want them looking like, man, they're filling up the stat sheet, because if they're doing that, that means they're not excelling elsewhere. And you want it in the first half. You don't want this, a milk the clock wear on you kind of game. So
right.
that I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna bet against the Chiefs in this, so I'm gonna take the Chiefs. But they didn't look great against Denver. They didn't. In a game they wanted to win on Saturday to try for a shot, with a Titans loss potentially, against Houston. They needed to win it, and they didn't look great. Denver came out hot. Like I remember texting Bobby and Todd, just like, look at the fucking Broncos, dude. Like they looked good, and I'm just telling you, like the Chiefs, they don't seem like their normal self this year. So I'm like, this is like an App State over U of M type scenario if Pittsburgh wins. It's not a 30-point spread because this is the NFL, but it would. I'm rooting for him. I think Bills country is rooting for him. I think Titans Nation is rooting for him. Everybody is pulling for the Steelers. Let's get this thing out of Kansas City and let's open it up. And I think it would be a lot of fun. I mean, listen, the AFC already is wide open. If one of these big teams go down early, I mean, you can see a Giants type run. And I reference the Giants because last 2 Super Bowls they won, they didn't win the NFC East. They were wild card teams. One of the years they won 8 straight to win the Super Bowl. So if the Steelers pull something off here, shit would get wild. That said, as a betting man, I'm taking Kansas City. And Travis Kelce is my fantasy tight end for fantasy playoffs. So playoff fantasy rather. So
there you go. Last game to wrap it up. We've got the Cardinals on the road in Los Angeles versus the Rams.
This is the game of the week.
This could be a good game.
So much fun.
Yeah. Tommy, lead us off, man. What do you think?
Back and forth. It's going to be a back and forth game, and it's going to come down to the quarterback turnover at the end of the day. Matt Stafford, he is just I'm from here.
He hasn't looked great.
And he's this is what Matt Stafford does. He starts off good, and towards the middle of the season, end of the season, he starts to get a lot of turnovers.
And do you think it's his body? You think his body's just giving out on? What do you think it is, Tommy?
I don't know. I don't think so, because it's kind of been that way for a little while. But it could be a factor as well. But man, Kyle Murray as well, though, he can be shaky. He can be if things aren't going right.
So, Tommy, I have a rule on this podcast. Podcast. You don't bet on the birds after you carve the bird. After Thanksgiving, you don't fucking bet on the Cardinals. You just don't.
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna
go Rams. I'm gonna go Rams 33-30 at home.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Barn burner. Todd.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah. I think Tommy's absolutely right. There's a very young, high upside quarterback that we haven't seen hit his cap yet. And then you have a quarterback who has basically blamed his misfortunes, if you want to call them that, on being in the wrong town, right? He blamed a lot of his woes on the city of Detroit itself. And Tommy brought up a great point. He's in the top 5 in passing yards. And if you watched him play the last 6 weeks, you would not believe that for a second, right? He played very poorly last week. And we've talked about Tommy. We've talked about Stafford a lot on this podcast. We've talked a lot between our group chat amongst the 3 of us. And I don't trust Matt Stafford. But on the flip side of that, I can't bet against LA at home. I don't know. There's just something. There's something to that. You're in that big, fucking $100 billion monstrosity
Beautiful
of a stadium. That's the Rams fan base it seems to have picked up some getting back to LA. And there's just too many. There's just so many weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and you have big play OBJ back, right? I mean, he's played very well in LA, and then you saw Von Miller last week make some big plays. He made some big plays in that game, and unfortunately, it didn't go their way. But it just seems like that there's some small pieces that are coming together, and it's just going to really come down to what is Matt Stafford going to do in the second half if the Rams are down going into the second half? That's the real question, and that's a real thing that could happen, right? But on the other side of the ball, Kyler Murray just has the ability to just open up a game himself. That's the thing that he can do. He has the athleticism to create the game around him. And if LA can create that pressure, if Aaron Donald, that's a key part of this game. If Aaron Donald can create pressure on that offensive line, this is the Rams game to win.
Corey.
Yeah, no, those are great points, and there's I've mentioned one aspect when I've picked a lot of these games tonight, and that's coaching. And when it comes down to it, I think Sean McVay's a better coach. Not only that, I think the Rams, and you guys know how I feel about this guy specifically, they have the best player in football. The Rams have the best player in football, Aaron Donald. There's no question in my mind that he is the best player in the NFL. And I can't go against them when they have the guys to limit them on defense. They've got Von Miller. They've got Aaron Donald. They've got Jalen Ramsey, right? And then on offense, you've got one of the top producing receivers in the league in Cooper Kupp, a guy that's swinging up right now, and OBJ, who, by the way, has more touchdowns with the Rams this year than he ever had in Cleveland, which is just fucking hilarious. And then you've got a solid running game as well. I can't go against the Rams in this one. Don't bet on the birds. After you cut the bird, LA takes the win.
So before you pick, Bobby, I want to provide some insight that I've been kind of getting into that kind of impacts Arizona in the future. Do you guys know who one of the top targets is for the Oklahoma coaching job?
It's not Lincoln, or I'm
Cliff
sorry,
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury. Is it coming back?
Yes. He is one of the top names that keeps popping up in Norman. And gentlemen, if they lose in the first round, there is a lot of money to be made in college football right now, especially on the coaching side. And there is a lot more protection in college football than there is in the NFL. We've talked about the revolving door that is the coaching in the NFL. That just doesn't happen in college football. You have to royally fuck up a good college, or you have to create something that causes you to leave. Most of the time when you get
wouldn't
to a
that
big
be
level,
there
to the
though?
big level.
If you got fired, like wouldn't that just already be there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's like Harbaugh was kind of a head scratcher for me, but he did it anyway. But like, I just feel like that opportunity would be there when his time came to a natural end in Arizona. Sure. You know what I'm saying?
So the contract that I read for Cliff Kingsbury was that he would be the third coach in the history of college football. It's a $115 million contract.
That's a lot.
That's on the table for him.
That's a lot of fucking.
A lot of cheese.
$115 million.
Yeah, that's.
And
his smoke show girlfriend is gonna be pissed if he turns it down.
but that's kind of his jam, though. I mean, the dude was a dominant quarterback at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
He understands college football on the offensive side better, really, than I think any college football.
Air raid,
right
baby.
Now. Yeah, and that's what Oklahoma needs. They need that name. They need to bring that back. And that's the only way Caleb Williams comes back to Oklahoma. Seriously, that's my opinion on that. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that because I spent an hour and a half on that I couldn't sleep last night. I'm just fucking reading all these articles about Cliff Kingsbury. I'm like, this guy goes back to Norman. He gets back in the college football game. College football is getting a serious facelift. Oklahoma itself, as a university, is getting a serious facelift.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This is a tough one for me. Both teams have not looked great coming into the playoffs. But when it comes down to it, who do I trust more in pressure situations? At the helm, and that's going to be Matthew Stafford.
Wow.
Whoa.
I thought you were going Cards the way you led that in. I thought you were going Cards.
That was the point. I like to add a little intrigue to my picks, but no, I mean I think when it counts, Matt Stafford's going to show up. I don't remember the Lions ever being in the playoffs when he was there.
2 or 3 times they lost.
2 or 3 times
every time.
Yeah, well they didn't have the they didn't.
Yeah, well.
You got to think about the role players that he has, and you guys touched on it. The defense is incredible. Aaron Donald's one of the best athlete in the NFL. I would say arguably he's the best defensive player. I think T.J. Watt gives him a run for his money, especially when you compare statistics over the last couple years.
Yeah, but Aaron Donald's doing it from the tackle slot. Like there are no tackles that are even sniff his jock. Like they're not even close. Sorry.
I said best.
You're firing me up. You're talking about my boy all wrong. You see?
I said best athlete, arguably the best defensive player. I think he's definitely in that conversation. Yeah. You can definitely say that he's one of the best, if not the best. I think TJ is the only other human being on the defensive side of the ball that gives him a run for his money, or he can even get close.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'm taking the Rams. I think that offense is going to get it done. Cooper Kupp has been the best receiver all year, hands down, no questions. I got the Rams.
Cooper Kupp, best. Another bold take. You trust Stafford in pressure. Cooper Kupp's the best, no question.
It's going to be a close game.
It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a game of the week, in my opinion. I think it's going to be the best game.
Certainly better than Amari Cooper, right?
Certainly better than Amari Cooper. That's an inside joke there, Tom. Sorry about that.
100%. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Want to give an absolute huge shout out to Tommy and the Mafia gang that came through. Please, if you are a Rally Towel member, please go to YouTube, check out the Mafia Sports Report. Tommy's on there all the time. He's got a huge following on there. Put some great content up. We just appreciate you giving us your time tonight and swinging through.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'll come on anytime, guys. Man, it was a blast.
Yeah,
well, hopefully.
I wrote your picks down, so if you want to come back next week, you let us know.
I would love a Bills Mafia, a Bengals come together for draft night. I would love that. I think draft night is one of the most electric nights for Bills Mafia.
Yeah,
because they get fucking bananas when the Bills pick Josh Allen. It was like they had just won the fucking Super Bowl. It was incredible.
Yeah,
I would love to get.
Dude, some people were pissed saying we should have took Rosen, and I was like,
dodged the bullet there.
I was tweeting out, are you guys fucking sane? But I'm telling you, man. Some people, man.
That's awesome.
But look how that draft winded up working out, guys. As far as the quarterbacks. Yep. It's funny how it works out sometimes.
Yeah, you did all right. That's for sure. And again, on the short notice, for sure. I really, really appreciate you coming by, man. I just, personally,
thank you.
Anytime, brother.
Thanks for working it out.
Guys.
And
I appreciate you.
Hopefully, maybe we'll get together for a Bills Bengals AFC Championship talk here in a few weeks.
We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, if that game happens, that has to happen. There's no questions.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. I'll be here.
All right, guys.
Chat, thanks for swinging by. Thanks for all the likes, shares, and comments. We will catch you guys on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy some NFL playoff football. We'll be here to cover it all on Tuesday. We'll catch you then.